Hey everybody, Big Bison T here, coming at you with another video. In today's video, we are actually going to be answering a request. In one of the comments section of one of my other videos, a subscriber member, Two Can Play at That, asked about helmet covers and if we could go over those a little bit. Absolutely, I'd be happy to. And going forward, if you guys have any other requests, anything specific you want me to make a video about, doesn't have to be aliens related. Obviously, that's a bit of my wheelhouse. But if there's anything I can help you guys out with, just let me know also in the comments section. So today we're going to be looking at helmet covers. So this cover here, I've already put on my Hudson. And I've already graffitied it up like Hudson to be screen accurate. And when it comes to applying your cover, the main things are getting it tight so there's no wrinkles or puffiness. And of course, making it fit specifically on your camera. As far as that stuff goes, you basically have two choices. You can cut the hole and fit it around the camera, which is actually how the screen used ones were done. Or you can try to sandwich it. That's where you remove the camera from the helmet, either by breaking it off if the glue is able to be broken, or if you attached it with screws from the inside to the pot between the liner and the steel pot, or the fiberglass or plastic, vac formed, whatever it is you got. If you can unattach the camera, put your helmet cover on, and then reattach the camera right over the top, you sort of sandwich the cover between the pot and the camera. Now that way will look the cleanest and it will be the easiest, but again, it is not screen accurate, so that's not what I'm going to do. I am going to go through the process of a bit of a hybrid, which will hopefully make more sense as the video continues. So there are a few helmet cover makers over the years. This one is a very heavy-duty old one. This is not currently in production. This was made by Man-at-Arms. I believe this is Spat. He did 3 different variations. His helmet covers were pretty good quality by all accounts. They virtually identical copy to the old Mitchell covers in their pattern. So you see in here, I just used literal black duct tape to pull the edges as tight as I can and secure it, while your helmet liner does most of the work in holding your helmet on. So it's a little bit of a guess and test. You see, I kind of hacked this to pieces trying to cut a hole for the camera, which is not horrible, because on the real ones, they were actually cut out. They were sewed nicely. They weren't cut like this. But you know, if you're going for the beat up weathered look, I think it looks pretty good on my Hudson helmet. So I am not crying too many tears over my bit of a hack job there. But obviously on yours, you may want it to look a little cleaner than that. So if you're trying to buy a cover today from one that's actually being produced, you're probably going with either Chef or Spat. I've never had a Chef cover. I do have this Spat cover right now. This is the one I purchased in order to do my Dietrich cover design. This brand new color is not exactly how it looked on screen. That faded color is better. So I don't know if the camera's picking up the difference. It's actually pretty stark contrast. We want that faded look. So this is going to be not a bad thing at all. We're going to wash this cover. We're going to wash it hot to get it to fade, and then as it's going to air dry, it should shrink up a bit. So we're going to, while it's wet, put it on the helmet. So the main thing is that we want it to shrink up and get tight and get snug. But we're going to put it on the helmet first so that it does all that into conforming into the shape. So now we got to get back to what we were talking about, deciding either cutting your helmet hole, or you remove the camera, put the cover on, and then re-secure the camera right over the top, which is not a bad plan either. It's a little bit tougher for me on this one because I have epoxied this camera into place. I can't really just pull it off without risking damaging the fiberglass underneath it. So I'm actually going to be using a different helmet altogether just to get the spacing. I know not everybody's going to have 2 helmets to try, but I do have another helmet where I did secure it with screws through a metal pot. The screws are secured from the inside, so I'm going to take those off. I'm going to wash this, throw it on the other helmet, and then I'm going to let it shrink up and dry, hopefully be nice and faded and get its shape, and then I'm going to measure out where I'm going to cut my camera hole, and then I'm going to move it onto this camera. Kind of a lot of steps that may be a bit unnecessary, but the gist of it is wash it, put it on the helmet while it's wet, and let it dry, air dry. there's not a lot of overhang. You know, in the Man-at-Arms one, you saw that it literally, I could tape it to the bottom. This one is pretty snug as it is, and there's just not a lot of play. But I am going to try to throw something on there and try to hold the edges down while I pull the other side. I use Gorilla duct tape. You guys can try to use hot glue. I don't see, I mean, being wet might affect the cooling rate, but it should still work if you did want to hot glue it. But yeah, we gotta tighten up all these edges and pull them snug before we drop our liner back in. It's not bad. You can see the profile of the bump plate, so that's good. And now if we just let it air dry a bit, then I think we're going to get the look we want. If you want to go the extra mile, can't hurt to go ahead and grab a flathead screwdriver and really make sure you tuck it into the liner. And when you're going around with the flathead screwdriver, you want to make sure that you're pretty careful. You don't want to damage the fabric. Like, I don't have a very tight seal here at all. I really got to get it in there. Or maybe you do want to damage the fabric. If you want the worn look, weathered, go nuts. Rip as many holes as you want. But I'm going to work on that. It's hard to do that with one hand. Get back to you. Guess I got it fairly tight. So like I say, now I'm just going to let it dry. Hopefully it'll even snug up even just a bit more. Yeah, well, it's not completely dry yet, but I'm getting impatient. And I want to put this on the helmet it's going to go on. So I'm roughly ballparking where this sucker is going to fit with the camera on it. And I'm going to use a pen to mark that profile. And frankly, just cut it out. So the helmet now is completely dry. It's the next day. I guess we got some shrinkage. We definitely got some good, snug form fittingness to it. It can be better. The liner only did an okay job trying to hold all the edges in, because there's just not a whole lot of edges to work with on this cover. So now that it's dry, I'm going to go in again with duct tape and likely with some 6000 glue and pull it as tight as I can, so that this is basically going to be permanently mounted as soon as you use glue. Or maybe I'll try the duct tape first and see if it's enough. We had some success just keeping the duct tape, you know, holding its position while we got the liner on. Now I'm going to pull it a lot tighter, and hopefully with the dry fabric the duct tape will do a much better job holding. It actually didn't hold that bad even while it was wet, but hopefully with it dry it's going to be even better. I'm going to pull up every edge way snugger, more snug, whatever the correct word is, and go from there and try to get this thing really skin tight on there. So I got everything taped down, pulled nice and tight and snug. You can see the shapes underneath it, which is always the end goal. And once I get the finishing touch, you don't always need a headband in general for the costuming, because Apone and Wierzbowski had no headband at all, but all the Marines with headbands or with helmet covers had headbands, and I think it'll help finish off the look. So I'm going to slap this on there along with, like I said, I'm making this for a Dietrich display, so I got her little nurse pin. Overall, really digging the profile. Got nice, tight, taut areas here. It's actually a little springy here between the bump plate. Got my fit pretty good and pretty centered. Got the liner in there nice and snug. I think this old girl is ready to rock. So the last thing I might want to consider is adding some more weathering, especially around the plate here, if you really want to emphasize the bump plate, which I highly encourage, because that is what makes the helmet unique, is that bump plate. And I hate that sometimes the helmet covers kind of wash them out. You can rough it up literally with sandpaper, some steel wool, get off some of the color, make some artificial wear. Or you can really go artificial wear and just dry brush a little white acrylic, just real dry of a dry brush. But you can add some artificial white that looks like it might have rubbed the color off if you're not comfortable actually damaging the fabric at all. Mine has a little natural wear, I guess, just from the manufacturing process and the wash. But like I said, wear and weathering is never a bad thing. Always try to add some of that. Adds more realism, makes the whole prop look better overall. So yeah, so that's how you get one on. It's obviously not completely universal to every manufacturer of cover, but I think the techniques we covered here will help you get it done one way or the other. And if you had any other questions that were not covered, please ask in the comments section. I'll try to keep track. And of course, if you have another idea, a question to ask where you want a video made, let me know and maybe I can get it done. Thanks for watching.